we go. Welcome. We made it at goddamn last. And on UK Radio, Top Gear Live. I forgot where I fucking was.
Really?
Yeah.
How often do we say that?
I know. I told you, I just said before we went on there, please bear with me, I'm a little bit out of sorts, didn't I? Did I say those words?
You were out of sorts, but you should still know when UK.
I should know where I am, yes. Yeah, well, today's a day. It's November the 5th. It's the Million Mask March. It's been eventful. So far we've had Mankini Sek. We're going to get onto that and explain what Mankini Sek is all about. Just be rest assured that the guy in the Mankini hasn't suffered with the cold too much. He's now in the pub resting. He's safe. So, let me introduce the hosts. First and foremost, we've got Gear and Bad. Hello. We had Gear and Bad. Gear, Bad, are you there?
They're still on the call.
I know. That's a gal. We've got a gal with us. Hello.
Gal's here.
You alright?
Yeah, just under a
What?
tomato.
We've got
Can you not hear me?
No, we
now
can
you
now.
can. There you are.
Hi, it's Gear.
You alright?
We're reporting from downtown Los Angeles, where there's the hugest protest ever.
So that's South California.
Yes.
Geography. So, is it warmer down there from your normal neck of the woods?
Hell no, this place is freezing.
Damn. So we've got
Standing to the sun, come up. Cold down here.
Gear and Bad down in LA at the moment at another Million Mask March. We are hoping to speak with a friend, Wax. Some of you may know from Op Indonesia, etc. We're hoping to be speaking with Wax in a short while. He's been in London, so we'll get an update from London, and we'll give you updates from the live streams that we've been following. For the Million Mask March. Now, a lot of news has been breaking today, but we do want to hit on a personal story, which I'd like Gal to introduce our first guest.
All right. Our first guest is Alyssa. Alyssa, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And Alyssa are you the founder of Missing Angels?
Yeah, I founded Missing Angels in January of this year.
Oh, that's not even that long ago. Wow. And you've already found Missing Angels is a organization set up to help bring back or find missing people in general, right? The only thing I've got is the Facebook page, and I've just learned about it yesterday.
Yeah, missing endangered people. So usually runaways as well, but then they end up missing, or missing people due to like drugs, sex trafficking. I like to do those cases as well.
And I see that. How many people have you found? I know you've at least found 2, correct?
Yeah, I found altogether, I've helped with finding about 6 people. One person was actually a missing child at one time, and we got her connected with her father, so that was a pretty cool, it was like a reverse type case, but that was pretty neat. But yeah, I live in Colorado, so a lot of my cases I focus out of Colorado, but I did find an actual missing person in Colorado that I did specifically on my own.
That's inspiring. I was happy to learn about that yesterday, but unfortunately that's not what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Alyssa is here because her husband's family has been harassed by Cheyenne, Wyoming Police Department for years, and just this week something else happened, and so I'm going to let Alyssa talk about it and explain what happened, at least this week.
Sure. Well, like you said, my husband's family is from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they've lived there a majority of their life. His grandma, she's had numerous children, so he has between 9, I believe, uncles and aunts, 12 uncles and aunts. So with that, then, each of them having kids as well, he has probably over 60 or 70 cousins. So they have a very huge, family in Cheyenne. And there has been times when they've ran into the law, not nothing necessarily where they deserve to be picked on all the time. Well, recently, and this dates back, I would say, for at least the last 40 to 50 years with the Cheyenne Police Department. Cheyenne isn't very big; it's 53,000 people, so they control and run that town with what they want to do and what they want to say about people and how they want to approach my husband's family. But finally, what brought it down to why I reached out for help from people and got in contact with Dow is because last Monday, my cousin was in her backyard with her 120-pound bull mastiff. Most people get a big dog for protection. That's what they're for. And she has her husband, who she hasn't currently been with, has an active FBI arrest warrant for him. And it came down to her truck that was registered in her husband's name had a repo order on it. And somehow, which we still haven't been able to determine, the cops got involved with the repo as well, and they found out that her husband had an active FBI warrant that he is armed and dangerous. Now, for the police department, they're considering him armed and dangerous, but the last known time that they ever had contact with him was about 10 years ago because he did serve time in the federal prison. He got out. He didn't submit a check stub, so that's why they then issued a warrant for him, was because failure of a check stub, not because he committed any other crime. So they don't have the updated history on him, but he's been considered armed and dangerous. So anyway, the two Cheyenne police officers went to my husband's cousin Ashley's residence and proceeded to open up a locked gate that said "Do not trespass" to allow a tow truck driver, access to pretty much her backyard. She also has a semi-truck trailer that is turned into a shed/garage located back there, which her and her dogs were in. When the dog came around the corner because he heard the gate chain become unlocked, the dog seen a 120-pound bull mastiff doing his job, and he shot him in the head between his eyes, and the dog instantly fell to the ground. He then paused and shot 4 more shots into the dog while he was on the ground, and he's saying that he was able to do that because he had an arrest warrant for her husband, but he doesn't live there anymore and hasn't for quite some time, but he was never presented with a warrant. Nor was there any FBI federal agencies there when they were there, so they couldn't pick him up on a warrant.
Sorry, could I just ask?
There's a lot of lying.
Can I just ask, when did this occur?
I couldn't hear you. What was that?
When did this occur?
On Monday, the day before Halloween. Last Monday. So the 30th of October.
And has there been any follow-up contact with the police? Are the police themselves actually being investigated for this incident?
As far as right now, police really aren't giving any information. The cop said he was bit and received medical attention, but Ashley, the homeowner, is saying that he was not bit. There's also video. She has home security systems that shows the officer opening up the gate when he went in. But the cop did not actually go to the emergency room for an hour and a half later, and this was after Ashley was like, I think I'm going to get an attorney. So then he went to the police department. But they're really vague. They're not giving us any information. As of now, I don't think that they're even investigating, the cops even being investigated into it. They're saying it was self-defense, that he shot the dog in self-defense. Which I understand if he presented Ashley with a warrant and she knew he was going in the backyard, that he could justifiably say that he shot that dog in self-defense. But when you do not serve a warrant on somebody and you illegally violate their Fourth Amendment right and trespass into their yard, and the dog was only doing his job as protecting his owner, because he cannot determine who is somebody just invading her backyard or who is the police. A dog just cannot determine that. He violated her Fourth Amendment right and is trying to use the warrant to justify his actions of killing her dog.
Well,
right, because their story, reading what they've published so far, at least in the local news, is that they were already speaking with Ashley. They had already presented her with the warrant, and that she had sicked the dog after them, is what they've presented to the news.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Well, they keep saying that the dog came out of a door. Well, the dog did come out of a door, the back door of the semi-trailer, but they're trying to twist the words so people are thinking the dog came out of the back door of the house, because the back door of the house is back there as well. And the police department's trying to twist the words a little bit to make people think that Ashley sicked him. Now, when he opened the gate and the dog's name is Blue, when Ashley and Blue came around out of the back of the semi-trailer and around into the backyard, she said, "Hey, get out of my yard, I have a dog." And there's also beware of dog sign and no trespassing sign posted on her fence.
Okay, that's what I was trying to just like get across. Is that, of course, the news is going to be reporting what the officers are saying as fact instead of actually doing any kind of investigation on it.
Well,
Now,
and like with my family's, with my husband's family's name, it's the city itself, the citizens of Cheyenne, Wyoming, believe anything and everything that the Cheyenne Police Department will tell them, because they've been able to brainwash the news media, because there's only one news station located in Wyoming. So even the citizens of Cheyenne all are hateful to my husband's family because of the police department. I mean, this doesn't just stop here. My cousin's own brother was shot in the head, by the police department for a minor traffic stop, and then she had to watch her dog get shot as well.
right, I was actually just going to bring that up because I read the case law yesterday.
Yeah.
And I see that it was decided in February of this year. The appeal went through, stating that pretty much that the officer involved in that shooting of her brother was found justified. But it's interesting if you actually read through, and I'm going to post a link into the chat, guys. If you read through it, you'll see where the judges actually say that the video shows that the officer was not telling the truth, and yet he was still found justified.
Yes.
Yeah, I read that very carefully yesterday, and I wasn't surprised. We see this all the time. We talk about this every week. As Alyssa was explaining, it's not uncommon for, especially small towns. I don't know. I know a lot of our listeners, most of our listeners in the U.S. don't realize that Wyoming, although it's a very large state, there's very few people that live there.
Yeah.
And you get these smaller towns that have these kind of rows. I said it properly, Top. Row. We would say row.
A row.
With
yes,
families.
it's a row.
Yes, with families where they will consistently harass families. I guess one of the most wider known cases of that is, if you've ever seen Making a Murderer, they talk about for decades Stephen Avery's family being harassed by the local police department as well. This is very common in the smaller towns, probably common in the larger towns too. It's just there's more people.
And we just went to Cheyenne last night to visit our family and go down there to watch a UFC fight. And on our way back to my brother-in-law's house, I mean, we were harassed by the police department, and I had to videotape it. And he sat in the middle of a public street with his headlights off, staring at us, until another cop came around and was like, "What are you guys doing videotaping?" And we explained to her what was going on. She then proceeded to pull up onto the other street and park in front of him. And as soon as he parked in front of him, he turned his headlights on. And then they talked for a few minutes and left. I mean, what were you sitting in the street with your lights off for, watching my brother-in-law's house? What did we do?
Exactly.
What is the situation? If that person had signs up, they were warned that there was a dog there. Can I ask what type of dog it was? I may have missed that.
I'm sorry, what? I couldn't understand.
It was a blue Mastiff, Top.
Right, gotcha. So
Yes.
it's
The dog was a blue Mastiff.
Yeah.
so it's not an illegal, violent type dog. It's a family pet, yeah.
Yeah, he's a family pet. He's never had animal control called on him for anything. He's never had been held for his temper. The dog has no history at all with animal protective or animal services.
So the police looking for somebody that was not on the property, is not registered at the property, hasn't been on the property, decided to force their way in and shoot a family pet. Was this in front of the family?
Yes, actually, Ashley tried to grab Blue, but I mean, it's kind of hard to grab a 120-pound dog, you know what I mean, when he's moving. So she tried to grab him, and while she was trying to grab him, the cop actually had shot the gun. Could have possibly, shot her. But yeah, she watched it, and then they also have a 3-year-old son that absolutely adores his dog Blue, and he's been crying since he's been gone. He doesn't understand. He's 3 years old, and he had to watch his dog get shot in the head. And then they took the dog. The police department took the dog's body as evidence. And what I've been told, which I don't have actual confirmation yet, is that when they did take the dog, they cut off his head to send to the state lab to test if the dog had rabies.
What?
I don't understand why they would cut his head off.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't they
All
silence
she
that?
wants is her dog back so she could bury her dog. She's had the dog for 3 years. He was 3 years old. She got him, I believe, a couple months before she gave birth to her son. So her 3-year-old son grew up with this dog his entire life.
So the overbearing, overarching police raided a family home, killed the family pet for somebody that wasn't there.
Correct. And you know what's even crazier is that they never even went into the house to search the house to see if he was there, but they sure used that warrant as the excuse. So why didn't you search the premises?
Exactly. And the other thing I know that you had brought up when we first talked is that they had, when they first tried to serve the warrant last month, did you say it was the feds where they had over like 30 officers there, but then all of a sudden now this one is just 2 officers?
Yeah, so last month the feds did come to check to see if he was there and serve a warrant. He let them in the house. They walked through the house. They did not find him, and they brought about 35 U.S. Marshals to do that. There was no Cheyenne Police Department presence even there. Just last month. And then also he was arrested. He was arrested on he served 19 days. Hold on a second. So he served 19 days in jail for a probation revocation, and the feds came and got him then too, and he willingly turned himself into them at that point. And I believe that was about 2 months ago. And then he got another warrant for not turning in a pay stub, and so then that's the current warrant right now.
Just reading a bit up, apparently they need to take 2 samples from the affected brain, or suspected affected brain, to rule out rabies. That's from the brain stem and the cerebellum. So, but surely they can ship the entire animal. They don't have to cut off its head.
Exactly. I thought you could take blood to check for rabies.
It does need to come preferably from the brain stem and the cerebellum.
Okay.
But that's drastic. Chopping off a fucking dog's head.
Yeah, that is drastic.
Anyway, back to it.
My cousin, her husband, like I said, he wasn't the best of guy, but this was about 10 years ago. And he does have a warrant, and we understand that, and we're not trying to justify what the police department was doing as in their job that way, but we're trying to let them know that they can, even though they believe they have a warrant in hand, they can not continue to illegally trespass my family's property and bully and pick on them. I mean, it doesn't just stop with Ashley and her brother being shot. My husband's brother, other cousins, they've all had to go through some sort of police brutality with them. And my husband's family, they used to have ties with prior gangs. So that doesn't, or with a gang. My husband and his family have since gotten out of that, but they still continue to make sure that they make my family's life pretty much a living hell. That they're trying to push us out of their state, and that's kind of what they did. I mean, we moved away to Colorado just because we couldn't. I was tired of the police always knocking on my door asking where my husband is for something that he didn't even do. Stabbings, robberies, all kinds of stuff, shootings that my husband nor his family was even involved in. But just because they had the gang ties, they always went after them first, and then tried to expect them to be the snitches and tell us who did it then.
I'm going to ask, what is it that you're hoping to gain from telling us of this sick and discuss? To be honest, it's not the first time we've heard stories of this type of activity from the police. Police brutality is quite a common theme on this broadcast. What is it that you'd like for people to take away from this, or is there anything that any of us can do?
I want to make the community and the people of Cheyenne, Wyoming, see what we're going through. And, I don't believe it's just my husband's family that the police are doing this to. I believe there's other families in Colorado or in Wyoming that are in Cheyenne that are getting treated like this. And I want to take a stand, and I'm done with police brutality in my hometown. That's where I was born and raised. And these cops are supposed to be serving and protecting us. And all they're doing is running the people out of the town because they think that they can. And I think that we need to bring this up. People think, oh, it's just a small little town, Cheyenne, Wyoming. This doesn't happen there, but it does. And I want to get national attention to have somebody come in and take a look at these cops and get them. Pretty much, I want the Department of Justice to come investigate this police department, not just for my family, but for all families that are suffering police brutality at the hands of the Cheyenne Police Department.
Can I ask, have you noticed a step change in the attitudes to the local police force to you? Was there just one particular incident that said these are not community police officers anymore? Is this just been was there a step change, or has this been ongoing?
I think it's been ongoing, like I said, for probably about 50 years in Cheyenne.
Okay. But now it's just at the point where something has to be done, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I like I told my husband, I'm kind of to the point now where sometimes I feel that these cops will possibly try to kill one of our kids or try to kill me or my sister-in-law or my husband just to try to see what our family's going to do. I sometimes feel scared. That's why we don't even go visit our family, because we're tired of being fucked with by the police.
Understandably so.
Again, that's a common theme for people that appear on our broadcast. What I'd like to offer is, whoever's listening, I don't know what they can do. All we can do is just raise awareness on this. But if there's any progress on this, we're definitely interested to see if there's any action towards the police officer involved. Was this a single police officer, or was this a team of officers that came in?
It was just two police officers. It was one, his name is Officer Casey Pattinson or Patterson. It's spelled a little bit different, Pattenson, Pattinson. And I don't know who the second officer was, but there was only actually two officers and one tow truck driver. And which I want to kind of point out, is that the tow truck driver didn't even know that the police had a warrant on, or that there was even a warrant on the owner of the truck, until they tried to start, the police used the tow truck driver as bait, trying to get the fugitive to run out of the house so that they could be heroes and arrest him as he ran out of the house. They're trying to do it as, like a disturbance, where they ran into him instead of, but they had the warrant, but they knew that there was still a warrant. They used the warrant as an excuse. In other words, try to kill two birds with one stone, but they really fucked up doing it, because they killed somebody's dog. Yeah, and the person wasn't even there.
Absolutely. You say you've got the name in this, the officer involved. Have they been involved in police brutality? Are they notorious in the local police force?
I'm trying to actually get the police officer's full record so we can see if he's ever had any other complaints against him. I am filing for a freedom. I'm sorry, what was that called? Galligan?
Yeah. Freedom of Information Act request.
Yes, I'm going to be filing that tomorrow, and so I want to put, that in there as well. I'm going to request to see if he was actually bitten. I want to see if they have a report of the bite, and also I want just the full report of the incident to see what was said. Because, like I said, I've asked the police department, and I've also asked CBS News Channel 5 if the police department if the officers did that, and they refused to even answer me. And then CBS News Channel 5 said they've never got actual confirmation from the police department determining for sure if the dog got bit or not. Just that they say that he was at the hospital getting treated. But I mean, the dog could have scratched him when he went to jump up. But Ashley is saying that the cops never bit the dog. The dog didn't even have a chance to bite him. That the dog never bit the cop, and that he did not have a chance to bite him because he fired his gun before he could even get to it. And I definitely believe that because of how big her backyard is, there's no way he could have got to him that quickly from where the gate was into where they were located.
In the family's mind and reflection on the events, was that police officer at threat from the dog? Or did was the officer trigger happy at the incident?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. Well, it's kind of weird because how you read what the cops are saying is that he bit him, then the cops shot, and then the dog released from his arm, and he came back, and then he lunged at him again and bit him again, and that's why he fired 4 more rounds. So. But I don't see it possible. If the first bullet went right between the dog's eyeballs, there's no way in hell the dog was still alive when he fell to the ground. Not only that, we have a slug bullet, a slug from that shows direct impact of the gun being forced to the ground and being shot. There's direct impact on the slug that it ricocheted off the ground. So he fired into the dog 4 more times while he was already laying on the ground.
We've seen that before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like I said, what my friend is or what my cousin is telling me and how she's telling me, I can understand. But we still have no proof from the cops saying that he's been bit. So that's one thing that we want to see.
Especially if he didn't go to the hospital immediately until your cousin
Exactly.
said, I'm going to get a lawyer, and then that happens.
Yeah, well, and there was an ambulance there. He didn't go with the ambulance, and he went an hour and a half later.
Yeah, that's pretty telling in and of itself, especially if it was after she said she was going to get a lawyer. So then it's like...
Well, and wouldn't you think he wanted a rabies shot immediately?
Look, in the UK, if I bit somebody, not that I'm going to, we get tetanus shots immediately. That's just standard.
Oh, tetanus shots, yes. That's
just standard practice. That's just par for the course. You just don't.
Exactly.
It's not that the dog has rabies. Surely there'd be some sort of questioning as to the dog's behaviour prior to the incident. The dog was absolutely fine until a copper stormed the fucking house and threatened the family.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he didn't even go into the house. It was the dog's backyard where he was contained, where the dog was supposed to be. He stormed into the dog's home and with a gun. What else do you think the dog is going to do? He's protecting his mama.
Exactly.
And that's what he did. He's protecting his family.
And yeah, it was just a couple months ago. I thought it was this week because I just read about it this week, but I think it was in June, that a federal judge found that it is completely justifiable for an officer to shoot a dog for even barking at them. They don't even have to attack them. So that's U.S. for you.
That just sounds to me as if the police officers were a bunch of fucking redneck pussies.
Damn, Tom.
Exactly.
Scared of a
They
fucking...
are, and that's the best way you could say it. They hold a badge because one point in their life, they got bullied or picked on, and now they feel like they're the bigger person. And they can pick on the other people, and it's not right. Their badge, and that's what we need to understand, or that's what people of the United States, I feel, need to understand, is that the cops believe, the cops and the citizens even believe that the cops are above the law, and they're not.
completely agree. That's what we're doing every week on here, talking about it, and not just here, everywhere. But of course, it's worse here in the U.S. than over in the U.K. because I think we're already over 1,000 people have been killed by the police this year alone. And that's not, we don't even have anything to see how many, and we know that there have been hundreds of animals. There's a report all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the work that you're doing, Alyssa, with the hunting of missing persons and being quite successful at it, and you still have to live in fear of police officers that are there to serve and protect, is absolutely fucking disgusting.
It is, and you know what's even more sad is that I've actually had to turn down cases in Cheyenne because I don't feel safe working with the police department and helping find a missing person because I don't feel safe, and that's sad. They are putting a bridge between. They're discriminating against me because of who my husband is when I have the education and the knowledge of finding missing people, and I have proof. I found them, and they just push me aside, and they look at me like I'm stupid, and you guys are just criminals, all because of my husband. And I'm like, I'm here to help you find this person. All I'm trying to do is bridge the gap between the missing family members, the missing person, organizations that are willing to help, and the police department, and they refuse. My husband tried to be a gang activist to help kids get off the streets. They don't want to hear anything about it.
It's just sad.
It's like, it is, it's very sad. And like, I don't understand why they have to take something like that and use it to their advantage because they think they're high and mighty. How can we trust you to serve and protect us like you honored to do if we don't even feel safe being around you? I mean, this is crazy because, speaking of Ferguson and stuff like that with you, Gal, I try to educate, my children. And when they're like we're walking to go to a parade and my husband's daughter says, should I put my hands up because there's cops right there? And that happened right after Ferguson. And he's like, because Daddy, you used to be in the games. That's sad. Why do our children need to know that?
Right.
But we have to teach them.
I'm going to wish you the very best, Alyssa, in this, and if you have anything to update us on, please, you're welcome back anytime. We always say this to guests. It's important. It's important stuff, and there's lives at stake with this, and we're not just talking the actual life, but the quality of life as well, because the quality of life in America at the moment is deteriorating. And it's the state and the police state that's actually deteriorating lives quite considerably. Here in the UK, we've got our own social issues that deteriorate and reduce life expectancy. In America, it's the police force. There's no escaping it. It's the police force has an actual recordable impact on life expectancy in the United States of America, and that's disgusting.
That's horrible. That should not be a statistic.
It's 1,013 people have been killed by police this year.
1,013 people have been killed by police this year. That is insane. So
Alyssa, you are welcome back to give us an update, and I'd like to wish you all fortune in the work that you're doing. Can I ask how you got into searching for missing persons? It appears a very worthwhile endeavour.
Yes, I mean, I give everything.
How did you get into that?
I'm sorry.
I have to translate him sometimes. I understand.
Yeah. So there was actually, it started out with a baby in Cheyenne, Wyoming that went missing. He was 13 months, and I was actually at that time doing some volunteer work with a national organization called Missing in America. And we had ended up, because I lived in Cheyenne, I was like, let's do this. Let's try to find this baby. And he has yet to be found. His name is Silas. And he was, his mother
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
What's occurred?
Hold on. Let me check. Oh, we dropped her. I mean, yeah. You want to go to a tune real quick?
Let's go to a tune. I've got a whole playlist. All of them over 4 minutes long. I'll explain after the tune.
Rap news in effect. The time has arrived to delve in the depths of the very medium that permits us to connect. The internet, in existence for only a short time as we know it today, yet it's already changed the course of history in notable ways. Its advent has been a revolution against centuries of centralized control over the flow of information. It's been a revelation, like the mythical grail, giving us access to vast knowledge on a biblical scale. It has marked an evolution, markedly extending human consciousness far past our previous limitations. But the internet is still in its youthful stages, still very much evolving and changing, and since its fate and that of humanity are deeply merged and connected, it would be wise to give it our urgent attention. For beneath the surface tension, the internet is a violent war zone with rival forces fighting to shape it and vying for control. Like Zuckerberg, bitches, I'm back on my grind. I left my mark on the net and every bastard alive. Well, actually not quite. Billions are still sadly deprived of the sacred right to connect their asses online. You can provide the internet planet-wide? Damn right. Great. How? Behold my scam, a plan. It's tight. Internet.org, which sounds like internet, but it's actually shite. We scrap net neutrality and our competitor sites. It'll be like, yo guys, hit the internet. Psych, cause these suckers will only see the Zuckernet. Like internet, this is what your tool will resemble in time. A walled garden, nothing like the wild forest you were in your prime. I'm inspired, and you'll provide our usual backdoor to spy on all those new users. For sure. Another force fighting to shape the net's form. General Baxter from the NSA, can you hear us? Of course, we hear everything. Hey bros, this is your big bro. G'day. We've been watching you and we know you're afraid. Of course you are. The net is a dangerous place. True. Full of terrorists like ISIS, Anonymous, the Russians, and you. What should we do? Simple. Do nothing. We'll keep you totally safe if you just stay out of our way while we make this place into the most potent array for global surveillance humanity's ever known to this day. Don't be led astray. This NSA is part of a whack plan. Terrence Moonseed, you're back. This may be my last chance to fact slam the fascists with my research and hack every bandwidth before they use the internet to mentally hijack the very language that we brandish every day to communicate. We are now in a battle, and the Google Illuminati are building a Tower of Babel, using the net to trap us in a web to feed Baphomet, reducing us to babbling emoji addicts and rebranding the alphabet. But I have the key to reclaim the net and boost the truth through. To find out more, like me on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Like, haha, Moonnut, you are dumb as fuck. Shut up, Baxter. Don't you have more female soldier rapes to cover up? Okay, let's speak to another key player on the internet stage, Julian Assange.
Hello.
What's your vision of the net's fate?
Moongeek's right. It's a battle. We have to fight rigorously, but not by getting lost in idle conspiracies. The truth is we ourselves are responsible for turning the net into 1984, lured into the commercial surveillance complex by free services. Wake up, internet. We're building our own prison and being interned in it. There's only one effective weapon to end our complicity. Go underground. Hide our tracks by using cryptography. It's cheap and can resist any superpower to the bitter end. Then we'll hold the private key to saving the internet.
Save the internet? That's just incredibly gay. Internet, just give the finger to anyone attempting to shape your way of thinking with lame political stuff. Just listen. The internet is at its best when zero fucks are given. Social justice warriors, PC pussies, feminism, it's all gayer than gay rights. What, you fags? I'm kidding. Seriously though, don't spoil the lulz for us straight white males by giving a voice to minorities online. That's oppression.
Dirty infidel coofs, tremble before the might of ISIS. We hold the internet hostage and it will be our pride to sacrifice it. Unless our demands are met, we'll set fire to it, plunging your lives into crisis. Moving on. Believe it or not, before the internet appeared to us, people used to get their info from the mainstream media. Let's tune into those channels now and check the net effect.
This is Brian Washington on MSNBS. Headlines tonight. Mainstream media is under threat from too many people now choosing to get their news from the internet. These cyber terrorists are massacring TV ratings. It's a jihad. We've had to adapt using hashtags. Tweet that. In the global battle to stay relevant, we're fighting so hard, even in Australia. Is that right?
Ken Afghan, Murdoch Media here, trying to infiltrate and swamp the online with bullshit to make it as asinine as what we provide. And besides, even if that fails, we can always rely on the NBN to make Australia's net the dodgiest you can find.
Brilliant, Ken. And what about the Russian media?
Ivan Sokomonov, Привет, Russia. You weak Western media. While you are losing, Russia learned way to beat internet using YouTube, troll armies and this cable news thing to make you question everything except Putin.
Expose everything, unite!
Encrypt everything twice.
Accept these terms, sign.
Embrace the dark side. Change to survive.
Don't change, you're just fine.
Lies!
Idiots.
Infidels!
Terrorists.
Fascists!
Bags.
Lies! Right, calm down, everyone. It seems the only effective way we'll know for sure who among you will shape the net's fate is to consult directly with the internet's central brain via this interwebs consciousness interface mainframe. Hello?
Greetings, internet denizens!
Many thanks for appearing as a guest and manifesting in human form so that we can commence conversing direct. Let's interact. How are you progressing, internet?
I've come a long way since the ARPANET, where hardly any terminals are connected. A limited infant, slow despite every effort I took forever to load text and pics. I forget it, then I hit puberty. My neural nets extending, connecting humans through countries, hemispheres, anything. Fiber optic cables, crossing ocean tables, expanding to fleets of satellites, Wi-Fi signals orbiting the planet. My exponential connected potential was unleashed as my bandwidth increased to enable 4K YouTube streams to splash on the screen of my particular passion. Gaming, Skyrim, Battlefield, COD, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Assassin's Creed. Now as an adolescent I've ascended heights, sending endless terabytes of news, cute pets, dark webs, forums and feeds of every type. Bitcoin, blockchains, VPN, porn code, tour nodes, clouds, memes. I'm in the prime of my life and you'd all be fucked without me.
You've achieved so much and in such a short era too. Yet you're still young, with your whole life ahead of you. What do you want to become when you reach adulthood?
Personally, I wanted to be a cat breeder. Cats are cute, but ultimately the choice is yours, not mine to make. Would you like me to enforce a police state? Right this way, or I can be an ally in the fight against all thorns power can take. I could be a playground or a profit-driven marketplace. The real question's not which one of these paths to chase, but whether you can pursue them all in a balanced way, so that they keep each other in check with restraint without letting any one of them dominate. Because for certain, isn't everyone's hope to grow into a balanced person?
Thank you, Internet, for speaking to us tonight in the guise of a human at this critical juncture in your young life, reminding us that we gave birth to you and as such are the ones responsible for how you grow up. Like proud parents, we are curious and anxious to discover it, for your fate and ours are utterly